And now we'll be jumping on to take our good news segment here on the Africa Global Radio Station, and we're looking at the Africa Daily Show. So I'll give you good news, and then when I come back, we'll be looking at different things on the different continents, countries across the continent.
Good news.
Good news.
Good news.
Good news.
Well, I don't know if you've heard of crowdfunding, but I know it's actually been a source by which a lot of entrepreneurs have seen or had their dreams being realized. Now, in Morocco, we've had the House of Representatives unanimously passing the crowdfunding bill, which I think is an amazing step and way towards, preparing the country for innovations and breakouts through entrepreneurship. So just this Wednesday, that was the 10th. No, that was just this Wednesday. They have actually passed the legal. It's a legal framework regulating collaborative financing and crowdfunding. Now that was a bill that was passed. So the law number 15 to 18 bill actually governs collaborative financing activities across the country of Morocco. And we have the Treasury and External Finance Department who have described the legislation as ongoing efforts to support socio-economic developments nationwide. I was happy when I saw this because I know half of the time we have entrepreneurs doing things and their countries or their governments don't necessarily recognize it or give them the needed support. And even in Morocco, most of the reasons entrepreneurs give for not being able to actually stay solid or stay rooted or be able to fully realize their dreams is the fact that there's the lack of funding. So with the whole crowdfunding thing, the government believes that this is going to be a solution to the problem of lack of funds. Now, this is going to be a collaborative effort because it's like a fundraising operation which is done through an electronic platform. And it's going to be managed by a collaborative funding company. So they're going to have an estimated amount of money that you're supposed to have to be able to be the one in charge of the collaborative funding company. The whole process it's technical, it's interesting. It's not that offhand, but I'm looking at it from the fact that we have a government that is stepping in to ensure that the conditions, the atmosphere is actually conducive for the growth of entrepreneurs. So they're giving out different types of crowdfunding with the bill that they have passed. And they have the investment category, which is going to be done through direct or indirect equity investment in a capital company. We also have the loan category. Basically, it's a remunerated or free of charge for the conditions and modalities once they fall under the conditions that have been set by the bank Al Maghreb, which is going to be acting as the collaborative funding company. And then also we have the donation category. So this is going to be carried out as a cash donation without any form of compensation. So if you want to apply for it, you just check whether you're falling under the investment, the loan, or the donation. I believe from now we wouldn't necessarily have to hear the same reason from Moroccan entrepreneurs that there's a lack of funding, so we can't do this, there's a lack of funding. So we believe this is going to be the start of great ideas and technological breakthroughs coming from the land of Morocco. But I would like other African countries who haven't done so yet to actually do it. In Ghana, we had the startup bill that was passed, and actually they even brought up entrepreneurs to actually give advice and also input on the startup bill. Senegal has also done the same thing. Tanzania also has something similar running for them. We have to get to a point where we make room and create a conducive atmosphere for entrepreneurs to grow. Because whatever development they come up with, it's going to go a long way if supported properly to grow the country and the whole economy as a whole. So kudos to Moroccan and the House of Representatives for passing this bill. Well, next up, we're moving to Egypt, where we have the Ebtessama Foundation that has partnered with Vodafone Egypt Foundation to launch a job e-platform for disabled people. Now, this happens to be Egypt's first digital platform that is specifically dedicated to training and employing persons with disabilities. Like, when I saw it, I was like, wow, I mean, this is another innovation. I know we have in certain African countries, there's a location, there's certain jobs that are actually only left for them to also provide them with form of or a source of income. But this is an e-platform. I love the fact that they train them, and then the platform links them to employers as well. So when you're coming to employ the person through the platform, you actually know that the person coming has a certain disability. Not as in cases where you'd apply and then they pick you because they have no idea. You come and then they find out they're like, oh, and they can't necessarily tell you straight to your face that's because of this disability you have that we wouldn't want to employ you. But then they find other reasons to lay you off or just turn you down. But with this one, they're going to link them to employers, and it goes away to make these disabled people feel like they're not less of human compared to those who don't have the disabilities. It also makes them know that they're actually included in the plans, in the country's planning, in the whole socioeconomic development thing does include them as well. So basically, if you want to join, you just go to majida.org. Majida is MAJIDAH.org. And what basically they do is they use technology to connect employers, civil organizations, the trainers, and then the disabled, and then donor organizations. So this was founded in the year 1998 by Majida Sami. And the foundation has really pushed a lot. It's gone through a lot to fight for the rights of the disabled. And this has been going on for like over the past 12 years. So this is the name, Majida, because he was the founder, is the same name that's given to the project. And this is like a breakthrough in the technological sphere. So it's not just about come, let's go. Now everything is online. Let's not forget, COVID-19 is still real and it's still out there. So the little story behind Majida is the fact that some time ago we had disabled people, especially in Egypt, facing deeply rooted discrimination. I mean, the fact that they couldn't use certain parts of their body, the fact that they didn't have certain parts of their body, people in a way despise them or look down upon them, feel like they're not, I mean, we're not the same, we're not on the same platform, the same level, which was not the best or the nicest thing. So Majida decided to stand up for them and fight for them through the Ebtessama Foundation. And this is how far they've come, to the point where they've decided to say, okay, COVID-19 is here. How do we adapt? How do we help and keep these people afloat as well? So then we provide a platform that can connect them to employers, a virtual one as well. And that also puts money in their pockets and puts food on the table for them. So kudos to Ebtessama and Vodafone for this amazing thing. Well, finally, we're moving to South Africa. So I saw something funny this morning, and the person just wrote that I'm never shopping online again. Because when you actually compare the image of what she ordered to what was delivered, they are like from two different planets, like totally different things. And sometimes we see it and we laugh over it. But on a more serious note, we're in a space where we actually have to depend on online for most of our things, just so that we can be safe and, curb the spread of the COVID-19. Now, if people don't really trust what they're going to get at the other end, it becomes difficult for them to patronize the whole online shopping, the whole e-commerce thing, or to actually even buy into it. So this is where a South African fintech company has actually enabled a solution. Now they call it a verbal commerce. A verbal commerce. So VerPay, just for short, verbal, like talking. So VerPay happens to be a telephonic payment system, and it was just launched. Now, one thing they have done is the verbal commerce here tells you that transactions and communication is done via voice. You talk to somebody. So you know that, okay, I'm not just clicking, cashing out, or just going to pay or checking out. But then you have someone you can talk to, and you can really explain into detail and to the tiniest of points I want this, I want that, I don't want this, I don't want that. So that brings you more closer to your specifications. You're able to communicate, and that adds a layer of security for you if you're out there in South Africa and then you want to shop or you want to connect to somebody or purchase something online. You feel like I've had a terrible experience or a friend has had a terrible experience with shopping online. Well, VetPay from South Africa is here to tell you that trust us. That is not something you can just put out in people's heads, but then they're trying to say trust us. So they have introduced the verbal commerce where you get to talk and let people know that this is what you want, and you don't just go and select and then it comes and you're disappointed. I feel this is amazing. It's like every day we crack another layer in the technological sphere as we're learning to adapt to this whole COVID-19 time of less contact with other people. Now, one of the interesting things about VerPay is the fact that it's secured when it comes to payments, because a lot of people are afraid that the minute you send the cash in, you might not receive your product. You can't guarantee that someone is actually even going to pay or someone has seen or verified. But the minute payments are made and they receive, you are notified. And when you're notified, immediately your order is actually set out, you're notified as well. And everything is done verbally. So it's not just by text or by email. So I think it's a good thing. I mean, South Africa is doing well by coming up with different methods, coming up with different technological advancements, despite, the COVID-19 cases that are still there. Well, that's all we have for you for good news. Don't forget you can find more good stories on our website, www.africaglobalradio.com.